%3 pay increase suggested for high-ranking civil servants. A survey shows private sector employers planning an average 4.5% pay hike for their staff. And in America, an end to the monthly bond purchase program by the Fed.
Good evening. The Standing Commission on Civil Service Salaries has proposed a 3% pay increase for around 3,400 high-ranking civil servants. The commission has also suggested that the low-ranking civil servant staff salaries remain unchanged. Rani Samtani has this story.
The Standing Commission compared the pay level gap between the government and 128 organizations in the private sector. It found that senior-level civil servant salaries are lower than the corresponding salaries in the private sector by 8%. According to the existing mechanism, the Standing Commission has proposed raising the salary for high-ranking posts.
Because this is a scientific survey, we base our recommendations on the findings of the survey. So this is not whether we would like to increase a certain band more than the others. For the master pay scale 0.45 to 49, there is a substantial difference of 8%.
A 3% pay rise is recommended for high-ranking civil servants such as senior managers, including engineers or lawyers, with monthly salaries from over $89,000 to more than $103,000. The salary increase will be about $2,000 to $3,000. The survey also found a 2 to 4% difference between other lower-ranking civil servants' salaries and the private sector, and so they will not benefit from a pay rise. Some civil servants were found to be receiving salaries higher than their counterparts in the private sector, but according to the survey mechanism, an adjustment is not required for these civil servants. The Standing Commission will submit its report to the Chief Executive for consideration. It will then go to the Legislative Council's Finance Committee for funding approval before the pay adjustment can take effect. Rani Samtani, TVB News.
Meanwhile, a survey of more than 100 local companies shows about half of the employers were planning to give an average 4.5% pay hike to their staff next year. But that survey was conducted before the start of the Occupy protests, so the organizers will carry out another survey in January to update the results. Rani Samtani again.
The Hong Kong Institute of Human Resource Management surveyed 101 companies from 17 different sectors, covering 137,000 full-time employees. 80 companies indicated that they will review salaries between January and April next year.
For the past 4 years, the pay adjustment have been positive, on average, between 4.2 to 4.5. Hong Kong is actually an economy which have been quite stable and backed by China.
Out of 52 companies that already budgeted next year's salary adjustment, 2 said they would freeze salary increases. The rest said salary adjustments will be between 4.1 and 5.9%. That's an overall average pay rise of 4.5% projected for next year. The financial services and construction sectors are expected to get the highest pay rise. But the survey was conducted before the start of the Occupy protests. The Institute of Human Resource Management noted that many employers had not considered the impact of the demonstrations.
It is very difficult to comment on that. I don't know. I have myself actually walked on to the street to see what's actually happening. It's really difficult to predict what's going to happen tomorrow.
Because it is unknown when the civil disobedience movement will come to an end, Mock said it is difficult to say how the economy and the labor market will be affected. The Institute of Human Resource Management said it will conduct another survey in January next year to reevaluate the situation from September to December and update its pay increase forecast accordingly. Rani Samtani, TVB News.
Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development Gregory So says some business travelers have canceled their trips to Hong Kong because of the Occupy movement. And one international road cycling competition slated for December has also been canceled. Evelina Lung reports.
Disappointing news for cyclists today. An international road cycling tournament supposed to be held in the city in December has now been cancelled. Professional cyclists and thousands of amateurs were expected to participate in the competition. The organizers said a number of factors led to the cancellation of the event. They include the race route, which would pass through Longwu Road in Admiralty, police manpower, and the amount of time needed to organize the event. Meanwhile, Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development Gregory So said today some business travelers had cancelled their visits because of the Occupy protests. For example, when the IT sector was organizing a conference here in Hong Kong, some overseas companies expressed worries about the protests and said their employees would not attend such events, he said. Gregory So also added that even though the number of mainland visitors has gone up in October up until Sunday, figures showed that travelers from other parts of the world have dropped by 3.7%. Some tour guides worried that the protests could affect their business in November and December, which is the peak season. Hotel operators are also concerned. Michael Lee of the Federation of Hong Kong Hotel Owners said according to the latest bookings, the Christmas occupancy rate at many hotels this year may end up at around 70 to 80%, lower than the 80 to 90% in previous years. Evelyn Lang, TVB News.
A further response today from Occupy Central organizer Benny Tai to questions regarding his handling of donations to the University of Hong Kong. Tai said he passed an $800,000 donation to the university for the purpose of setting up the civil referendum in June while he was organizing the Occupy Central movement. Meanwhile, some members of the public today demanded the University of Hong Kong take action over the matter, while others urged the police to carry out an investigation. Owen Fung reports.
According to Benny Tai, the civil referendum conducted in late June was part of the plan when Occupy Central with Love and Peace, or OCLP, was established. Accordingly, an $800,000 anonymous donation was given through Reverend Chu Yu-ming to the University of Hong Kong Public Opinion Program for setting up and implementing the voting system. Tai emphasized that the civil referendum did not happen out of the blue. And before OCLP was established, Tai had stated that he would only accept donations of up to $10,000. But he said the decision was subsequently retracted. Tai added that he's not sure when to turn himself into the police yet, but he said he'll find an appropriate time to do so. And on whether protesters should also turn themselves in, Tai believes it should be their own decision. Meanwhile, a group of people submitted a petition to the University of Hong Kong demanding that the university suspend and investigate Robert Chung, director of the Public Opinion Program. The group is unhappy that the program received the anonymous donation from Benny Tai, saying it believes OCLP manipulated the result of the civil referendum. Elsewhere, members of the Justice Alliance rallied outside a police station, urging the authorities to investigate the donation. Letitia Lee, convener of the alliance, finds the source of the donation problematic. She also questioned if there was any money laundering involved. Lee said she's already requested a meeting with the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Hong Kong and will submit a complaint to the ICAC on this matter. Owen Fung, TVB News.
The Office of the Privacy Commissioner for Personal Data said there's been a sharp increase in cyberbullying inquiries and complaint cases since the Occupy protests began. The office published leaflets to remind Internet users to abide by the law, even in the cyber world. Liz Yoon takes a closer look.
Technological innovations unquestionably increase connectivity between netizens. But some might be abusing the internet by calling on their counterparts to disclose personal data of an individual. The Office of the Privacy Commissioner for Personal Data, or PCPD, warned that people whose photos were posted online or those whose personal data was leaked could fall prey to cyberbullying. It's been more than a month since the Occupy movement began. So far, the PCPD received a total of 70 inquiries and complaint cases regarding cyberbullying. That's 70% higher compared with last year. PCPD published leaflets to alert the public that cyberbullying could lead to devastating effects. The office added that there are no related laws in Hong Kong to regulate such behavior. The office also reminded members of the public to report to the police if their cases carry a criminal element, or they may lodge a complaint directly to the related social media network. And PCPD would intervene if the case involves wrongful collection of personal data. Liz Yun, TVB News.
U.S. Federal Reserve ended its monthly bond purchase program on Wednesday and expressed confidence in the country's economy. Called quantitative easing, the bond purchase began after the economic meltdown in 2008 to keep liquidity in the markets. Fed Chair Janet Yellen inherited the phase-out of the stimulus program from her predecessor, Ben Bernanke. With the U.S. job market now showing steady gains, the Fed's policy panel dropped its characterization of the labor market slack as significant. The next big decision facing the Fed is when to raise short-term interest rates. They have been kept at record lows since 2008.
And still ahead in our newscast, rescue work underway following a tea plantation mudslide. A new and improved flying car prototype. And San Francisco Giants win the World Series.